Hi everyone, welcome to my YouTube channel. Today, we dive into one of the most notorious and perplexing cases in the annals of true crime history, the Zodiac Killer. This unidentified serial killer terrorized Northern California in the late 1960s and early 1970s, leaving a trail of fear and confusion in his wake. With a chilling modus operandi, the Zodiac Killer claimed the lives of at least 5 known victims, though he boasted of many more. What sets this case apart from other serial killings is the killer's audacious communication with the media and law enforcement, sending cryptic letters and ciphers that have puzzled experts and enthusiasts for decades. The Zodiac's taunts and threats were not just terrifying, they were intricately crafted puzzles, daring the public and investigators to catch him if they could. Despite an intense manhunt, numerous suspects, and years of meticulous investigation, the true identity of the Zodiac Killer has never been confirmed, making him one of the most enigmatic figures in criminal history. In this video, we will take a comprehensive look at the Zodiac's chilling crimes, dissect his cryptic communications, and explore the various theories and suspects that have emerged over the years. We will delve into the minds of the detectives who tirelessly worked the case, the impact on the victims' families, and the cultural legacy of a killer who has both horrified and fascinated the world. So sit back and get ready to immerse yourself in a story filled with suspense, mystery, and a relentless search for answers. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more deep dives into the world's most intriguing unsolved mysteries. Let's begin the journey into the dark and twisted world of the Zodiac Killer. The Zodiac's reign of terror began on a cold winter night, December 20th, 1968, when high school sweethearts Betty Lou Jensen and David Faraday were brutally murdered near Vallejo, California. The young couple, full of dreams and promise, had decided to spend the evening together, away from the pressures of school and family. They drove to a secluded spot on Lake Herman Road, a known lover's lane, hoping for a few quiet moments. Unbeknownst to them, their romantic night would end in unimaginable horror. Around 11 p.m., the peaceful evening was shattered when an unknown assailant approached their car. Evidence suggests that the attacker forced David and Betty Lou out of the vehicle at gunpoint. What followed was a scene of sheer terror. David was shot once in the head, a close-range execution that left him no chance of survival. Betty Lou, in a desperate bid to escape, ran from the car, but she was ruthlessly gunned down with 5 shots to her back, collapsing 28 feet from the car. The killer vanished into the night, leaving behind a scene that would haunt the Vallejo community and ignite a fear that would spread across Northern California. Investigators found little in the way of physical evidence. The motive seemed unclear. There was no robbery, no apparent personal grudge. The randomness of the violence was chilling. The brutal murder of these 2 teenagers marked the beginning of a series of killings that would confound law enforcement for decades. At first, the police had no inkling that this double homicide was the start of a spree. The Vallejo Police Department, along with the Solano County Sheriff's Office, launched an investigation, but leads were sparse. Friends and family were interviewed, local troublemakers questioned, but nothing pointed definitively to a suspect. This seemingly motiveless crime set a precedent for the Zodiac Killer's method: sudden, brutal attacks on young couples in secluded areas. It was only later, with subsequent murders and the killer's chilling correspondence, that the true nature of these crimes would come to light. The Vallejo murders of Betty Lou Jensen and David Faraday were not just isolated incidents, but part of a calculated and cold-blooded pattern. Months later, the Zodiac would strike again, cementing his legacy as one of America's most infamous serial killers. But on that December night, the terror was just beginning. As the investigation continued, the community grappled with the horrifying realization that a remorseless killer was in their midst, and no one knew when or where he would strike next. In the days and weeks following the murders, grief and fear gripped the community. Betty Lou and David were remembered as vibrant, young individuals whose lives were senselessly cut short. Their families, devastated by the loss, would become reluctant participants in the unfolding nightmare that was the Zodiac Killer's reign. As we move forward in our exploration of the Zodiac case, remember that it all started here, on a dark road in Vallejo. The first murders were the catalyst, setting in motion a series of events that would baffle and terrify law enforcement and the public alike. The Zodiac emerges. On July 4, 1969, Vallejo, California, became the chilling backdrop for another attack that would further cement the legacy of one of America's most notorious serial killers. Darlene Ferrin, a 22-year-old waitress, and her friend, 19-year-old Michael Mageau, were enjoying a late-night outing at Blue Rock Springs Park, a popular local lover's lane. As they sat in Ferrin's car, their peaceful evening took a horrific turn. A car approached and briefly left, only to return moments later. The driver, a lone figure, exited the vehicle and approached Ferrin and Mageau's car. Without warning, he unleashed a hail of bullets through the car window. Ferrin was struck multiple times and succumbed to her injuries, while Mageau, despite being gravely wounded, managed to survive. In the chaos and pain of the attack, Mageau was able to provide the police with a description of the assailant. A young white male, approximately 5 feet 8 inches to 5 feet 9 inches, with a stocky build, light-colored hair, and wearing heavy-rimmed glasses. His quick thinking and resilience would later prove crucial in identifying the patterns of this enigmatic killer. Shortly after the attack, an unnerving phone call was placed to the Vallejo Police Department. The caller, in a calm and composed manner, took credit for the attack and chillingly added that he was responsible for the earlier murders of high school students Betty Lou Jensen and David Faraday, which had occurred the previous December. He provided details of the crime scenes that only the killer would know. It was during this call that the self-proclaimed murderer identified himself with a name that would become infamous: the Zodiac. This brazen admission marked the beginning of a disturbing communication campaign. Over the next several years, the Zodiac would taunt law enforcement and the public through a series of cryptic letters and ciphers sent to local newspapers. His messages were filled with boasts of his killings, threats of future violence, and an insidious desire for notoriety. The attack on Darlene Ferrin and Michael Mageau, along with the Zodiac's subsequent communications, intensified the sense of fear and urgency in the investigation. Despite the best efforts of the police and amateur sleuths alike, the Zodiac's true identity remains one of the most perplexing mysteries in criminal history. Mageau's survival provided a crucial link in the ongoing investigation, giving investigators a description to work with and establishing a pattern in the Zodiac's method of operation. His bravery in the face of such terror is a poignant reminder of the human spirit's resilience even in the darkest of times. As the Zodiac's legend grew, so did his list of victims, each attack wrapped in the eerie enigma that defined his spree. The events of July 4, 1969, were not just another crime. They were a declaration of a reign of terror that would leave an indelible mark on the annals of true crime history. The Zodiac's ability to elude capture and his cryptic communications continue to captivate and horrify, ensuring that the memory of his victims and the quest for his identity endures. The ciphers and letters. The Zodiac Killer's notoriety grew exponentially as he began to reach out directly to the public and the media, cementing his place in the annals of criminal history. In the summer of 1969, following the murder of Darlene Ferrin and the near-fatal shooting of Michael Mageau, the Zodiac initiated a chilling correspondence with local newspapers, including the Vallejo Times-Herald and the San Francisco Chronicle. These letters were unlike any the public had seen before, filled with ciphers, threats, and taunts that would come to define the Zodiac's reign of terror. On August 1, 1969, 3 nearly identical letters arrived at the Vallejo Times-Herald, the San Francisco Chronicle, and the San Francisco Examiner. Each letter contained 1/3 of a cipher, which the Zodiac demanded be published on the front pages of the respective newspapers. The killer threatened to embark on a killing rampage if his demands were not met, creating a sense of urgency and fear among the editorial staffs and the general public. The ciphers, which became known as the Z408 cipher, were a complex series of symbols and characters, a puzzle that the Zodiac claimed would reveal his identity. The inclusion of these cryptograms elevated the killer from a mere murderer to an enigmatic and taunting figure, challenging the authorities and the public to uncover his secrets. The message included with the ciphers made it clear that the Zodiac was playing a game, a deadly cat-and-mouse chase that he intended to control. Over the following days, the newspapers complied with the Zodiac's demands, publishing the ciphers and letters on their front pages. Readers across the Bay Area were drawn into the mystery, with many attempting to decode the killer's cryptic messages. The pressure to solve the ciphers was immense, with both amateur and professional cryptologists working tirelessly to crack the code. Just a week later, on August 8, 1969, the Z408 cipher was deciphered by Donald and Betty Hardin, a high school teacher and his wife from Salinas, California. The decoded message was as chilling as it was revealing. "I like killing people because it is so much fun. It is more fun than killing wild game in the forest because man is the most dangerous animal of all." The message continued with the Zodiac boasting about his deeds and expressing his love for the act of murder. However, contrary to his promise, the message did not reveal his identity, ending instead with a series of random letters that left investigators puzzled. This first cipher set the tone for the Zodiac's future communications. He relished in the fear and chaos he created, using the media as his mouthpiece to spread terror. His letters were often filled with detailed accounts of his crimes, coded messages, and demands for recognition. Each letter added to the mythos of the Zodiac, portraying him as a cunning and uncatchable predator. In addition to the ciphers, the Zodiac's letters were laden with taunts and threats. He frequently mocked the police for their inability to capture him, referring to himself as the Zodiac, and adopting the now infamous crosshair symbol as his signature. He claimed to have committed additional murders and hinted at future attacks, keeping the public and law enforcement on edge. One of the most disturbing aspects of the Zodiac's letters was his apparent need for publicity. He craved attention and seemed to enjoy the widespread fear his letters and ciphers generated. By directly engaging with the media, the Zodiac ensured that his horrific deeds remained in the public consciousness, prolonging the terror and fascination surrounding his identity. Despite the efforts of law enforcement and cryptologists, not all of the Zodiac's ciphers have been cracked, leaving some of his messages shrouded in mystery to this day. The unresolved nature of these ciphers, combined with the Zodiac's elusiveness, has contributed to the enduring enigma that surrounds him. The Zodiac's letters and ciphers are more than just communications. They are a testament to the calculated and manipulative nature of a killer who thrived on instilling fear and maintaining control. The Lake Berryessa attack. On September 27, 1969, Lake Berryessa in Napa County, California, became the chilling stage for another of the Zodiac Killer's gruesome crimes. College students Brian Hartnell and Cecilia Shepard had chosen the serene lakeside for a relaxing afternoon. Their peaceful outing was shattered when a man, dressed in an executioner's hood and a bib-like garment emblazoned with the Zodiac's signature crosshair symbol, approached them. Armed with a gun and a knife, he initially pretended to be an escaped convict needing money and transportation, but his true intentions soon became horrifyingly clear. The attacker forced Brian and Cecilia to lie face down and proceeded to tie them up with pre-cut lengths of plastic clothesline. Without warning, he began a brutal assault, repeatedly stabbing them both. Brian was stabbed 6 times in the back, while Cecilia was stabbed 10 times in both her front and back. Despite the ferocity of the attack, Brian managed to survive, while Cecilia succumbed to her injuries 2 days later. The brutality and premeditation of the crime shocked investigators and the public alike. Brian Hartnell's survival was pivotal, as he provided law enforcement with crucial details about the attacker's appearance and methods. The Zodiac, displaying his usual taunting behavior, left a handwritten message on Brian's car door, detailing the dates of his previous attacks and marking the time of the current one, along with his infamous crosshair symbol. This attack at Lake Berryessa highlighted the Zodiac's capacity for both physical brutality and psychological terror, further entrenching his fearsome reputation and adding another layer of mystery to his elusive identity. The Presidio Heights murder. On the night of October 11, 1969, San Francisco's upscale Presidio Heights neighborhood became the site of a chilling crime. Paul Stein, a 29-year-old cab driver, picked up a fare near Union Square who requested to be taken to Washington and Maple Streets. Upon arrival, the passenger suddenly shot Stein in the head, killing him instantly. The killer then calmly tore a piece of Stein's blood-stained shirt and walked away, disappearing into the night. This murder marked a significant shift in the Zodiac Killer's pattern, as it was the first time he targeted a lone male adult rather than a couple. The Zodiac's audacity reached new heights when, a few days later, he sent a letter to the San Francisco Chronicle, containing a piece of Stein's shirt as grisly proof of his claim. The letter taunted police, boasting about his escape and suggesting future attacks. The Presidio Heights murder deeply unsettled the community and law enforcement, highlighting the killer's unpredictable nature and his ability to strike in different circumstances. Despite the quick response from police and a detailed description provided by young witnesses who saw the suspect leave the scene, the Zodiac remained at large, further cementing his infamy and the pervasive fear he instilled in the Bay Area. The Zodiac's letters continue. The Zodiac Killer's reign of terror extended beyond his physical crimes through a series of taunting letters sent to local newspapers. In these communications, he brazenly boasted about his murders, provided cryptic clues, and threatened future violence. The letters also included various ciphers, each one a complex puzzle intended to confound law enforcement and amateur cryptographers alike. The Zodiac's ability to manipulate the media and public opinion with his letters showcased his cunning and deepened his notoriety. One of the most infamous of these ciphers was the 340-character cipher, known as Z340, sent to the San Francisco Chronicle in November 1969. This particular cipher remained unsolved for over 5 decades, tantalizing cryptologists and fueling speculation about its contents. In 2020, a team of amateur codebreakers finally deciphered the Z340, revealing a message that, disappointingly, offered no new clues about the Zodiac's identity. Instead, it contained more of the killer's typical taunts and ramblings, reaffirming his love for killing and his desire to remain in the spotlight. Despite the breakthrough, the mystery of the Zodiac's true identity persists, and his letters continue to be a haunting reminder of his unresolved legacy. Suspects and investigations. Numerous suspects have been proposed over the years, but none have been definitively linked to the Zodiac. Arthur Lee Allen, the most famous suspect, identified through circumstantial evidence, but DNA and handwriting analyses were inconclusive. Rick Marshall and Lawrence Kane, both were investigated due to their resemblance to police sketches and suspicious behavior. Other suspects, over the years, various names have surfaced, including convicted killers and individuals with connections to the Bay Area. Modern forensic efforts. In recent years, advancements in DNA technology and forensic techniques have rekindled hopes of solving the case. Efforts to extract DNA from the Zodiac's letters and match it to genealogical databases have been ongoing, though no definitive results have been announced. The Zodiac Killer left a lasting impact on American culture, inspiring books, movies, and endless speculation. His ability to evade capture, combined with his taunting letters and unsolved ciphers, has made him a symbol of the unknown and the terrifying. The Zodiac Killer's case remains one of the most chilling and perplexing unsolved mysteries in criminal history. Despite numerous theories, suspects, and advances in forensic science, the true identity of the Zodiac Killer remains hidden. As we continue to seek answers, we honor the victims and the relentless pursuit of justice. What secrets still lie within the Zodiac ciphers? Will we ever uncover the true identity of this enigmatic killer? The search for the truth continues, driven by a quest for closure and the hope that one day, the Zodiac will finally be unmasked. If you found this story compelling, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more real crime stories and unsolved mysteries. Let us know in the comments what you think about the Zodiac Killer case. Your insights and theories could help shed light on this enduring mystery. Thank you for watching, and until next time, stay curious and keep exploring the unknown.